Morning everyone, this is Rajendran here joining from Market Calls and welcome everyone to pre-budget analysis. So in today's discussion we are going to discuss about the overall state of the Nifty futures and in fact what are the global tensions which is going on in the midst of the budget. And budget 2020 is one of the exciting events because more volatile trades happens during the budget. So it's good to have a check what is happening in the markets and how the trends has been and how the global tensions are, what kind of global tensions are going on, just to have a pre-check before getting into the budget event, right? Which will give a fair idea how we should approach when key reference levels are approaching and what are the key immediate support and resistance level which we can identify from the market profile. That is what we are going to talk in this session. So let's go into the session without any further delay. So first of all, I'm going to start with monthly charts so that we can get a bigger picture out there. The monthly charts is kind of a one-time framing. One-time framing is like the charts for the last 6 months. It was continuously in an uptrend. At the same time, it is also one-time framing. It's kind of the price is keep on making higher lows, right? For it's that has been made for the last 6 months consecutively. That's what we call that as a one-time framing. The one-time framing was happening for the last 6 months, which is mostly a sign that the investors are driving these markets for the last 6 months. And if we further narrow down to weekly charts, you can see that the immediate trend for the last 2 weeks is down. Primarily, it has been assumed that we are down because of the corona fears, and of course the global markets are panicking, and Indian markets also not an odd man out here, and which is followed by, let's further narrow down to the daily charts. So daily charts, you can see something visual out there. You'll be able to see that the close before the budget market went very visual. It exactly went to the previous swing low, right? So that 11,978 level, which is what one have to watch out from an immediate perspective, because markets are at very visual reference level. In fact, I also marked one of the interesting visual reference level around 11,820, right, which is also a very interesting reference, which is also a previous swing reference. I marked it, which is very closer to the previous swing low. So last, we'll have a quick summary on that. The overall trend summary is that monthly trend is up and it's one time framing for the last 6 months, and the weekly trend is up for the, weekly trend is clearly down. The medium term trend is down and daily trend is down. And so overall, for a trading perspective, if you're an intraday trader or a short term trader or a positional trader, it's good to have a check what the short term trend is doing, and it's good to follow what the short term trend is doing most of the times, and that is where one can become a good trend follower as well. So at this point of time, the clear trend is clearly down, so the overall bias and focus on from the positional side is still down. And let's also have a final check in the market profile. So market profile, we are seeing an immediate resistance around 12,200, which is nothing but the spike base which came on 27th of January, which is more or less likely to be acting like a kind of a positional resistance levels. And I also taken an key reference level, previous day high, as a key reference level to monitor for the sentiment, right? So and also the previous month low as well, which is also nothing but previous day low. Previous day low is the previous month low, the Jan 31st low. And also looking at the yesterday's selling activity, the yesterday's sellers are not so serious sellers. They are mostly emotional sellers. We can say that, who are coming and selling down below the value area. They are creating a poor structure. So they are ending up something like a form of a poor structure out there. So I'm just keeping a note of it. Yesterday there is a formation of a rally high. That is also one of the monitoring reference. These references, the previous month low or previous day high or the rally high, we will be using as a immediate monitoring references to monitor the confidence of the traders during the budget session. So during the budget session, we'll be trying to evaluate whether the buyers are doing good or sellers are doing good. What is the kind of confidence they are exhibiting? Are they exhibiting the high confidence or are they exhibiting lower confidence? That's what we'll be keeping a routine check during the market hours. Throughout the budget day, we'll be monitoring and recording those confidence levels, and thereby we'll be evaluating the trading opportunities, right? And so these are the major reference level which we are watching from a very short term perspective or even from the budget day perspective. Followed by that, we are looking into the India VIX charts. So India VIX charts, it have a pretty good idea that you can get a pretty good idea that the before any major events, right, the budget event or the central election event, India VIX tend to rise. India VIX usually rises because of two factors. One is market expectations. If there is too much of market expectations, India VIX tend to rise, or even it rise when there is a fear is going on. Some sort of fear is going on. Now, the current theme, it's more of a coronavirus fears and also budget 2020 expectations, right? So not much of a too much of speculation is there, especially when India VIX is rising hugely, which happened in the last May elections. That's more of a huge speculative activity happened over there. Whereas this time, fears are there and budget 2020 expectation is there, but not too much of speculation is there in the markets, right? That's a point to be noted out there. But yes, fears are going on and budget 2020 expectation is there. There are times what happens, like budget 2020 happens and then maybe an India VIX might try to collapse from there. Even if you see that the last central elections in 2019 expectations, right? The VIX was rising during the May and April 2019, and once the event is done, the VIX started crashing down, right? So we need to look into the behavior of the India VIX as well. Is the India VIX behavior is going to go down once the budget is over? Because it is not just budget expectation, it's also corona fears is there. Is this fear is going to maintain and it's going to go for some more extreme, right? That's what we're going to look into the today's session. We'll be having a mild eye on India VIX, but we are not going to take any signals from India VIX, but just have a casual look what the India VIX is doing, most likely during the middle of the day and probably during end of the day. We're not going to monitor inch by inch, but we're going to have a check around what the India VIX is doing, right? So is this breaking? Is there a VIX collapse is there or not? That kind of information we're going to prepare. And looking into the OTM out of the money weekly premiums, right? We will be able to find that the call and put are a bit overpriced because of two factors which we discussed. One is corona fears and the budget expectations. So because of the budget expectations, the weekly is priced to the extreme. IV would have been went up to the extreme. So the weekly premium options and the premium call options and the premium put options are at the extreme, which are highly overpriced. So basically an option buyer have to be a bit careful in these kind of scenarios, because if there is any VIX collapse is going to happen, that usually happens once the event is over or once the event is started ongoing. VIX collapse generally happens and that squeezes the premium, right? Option sellers comes and squeezes all those premiums. The premiums are higher because the option writers are taking extreme risk before the event, and the extreme pricing also one indication that option pricing is costlier. And at the same time, if you look into the straddles, right, the weekly straddles are roughly, if you monitor the spreads of the straddle spreads, you'll be able to see that almost 289 points. 289 points is the total spread. That's the total spread. That means from the center, the option writers will get a cushion of 289 points on both the sides. So which is roughly, you'll be able to get that the total premium spread is almost 500 and something like 550 plus points. roughly, right? So that's approximately 550 points, which will give an range between 11,660 to 12,239 levels. So that's what the weekly straddlers are expecting. They are closely expecting a 5% move for this week, and this week we are having total 5 sessions left for the expiry. The expiry is on 6th of February. So we have 5 more sessions, including the budget session. We are having 5 total sessions, and prior to that, the option premium is extremely high, and so the straddle spread is extremely wider because the option sellers are taking extreme risk. And at the same time, we are also looking into the monthly straddles as well. Monthly straddles are closely 440 plus points, right? So roughly and approximately you'll be able to see that 440 points, which means 440 points of cushion on both the directions. So kind of an what is the total premium out there? 400 430 something. Oops, not 400, but something like an 427, right? So 427 on both the directions. So 427 plus and 427 here. So that means a combined premium of something like 850 points. 850 points is the rough premium which we are the monthly straddlers are getting it, which is roughly around 11,522 to 12,377. That's the spread wide. So yeah, a bigger volatility is expected. Roughly a 7 to 8% is the range they are expecting for the month, and for the weekly is concerned, the weekly straddlers are expecting some 4 to 5% move, maybe roughly we can say like around 4 to 5.5% kind of move is what they are expecting for the budget series. So most likely to be an volatile session, we can say like that. And at the same time, if you look into the global markets, the global markets are driven by coronavirus fear. That is the theme which is running on, because every global markets are reacting to that for the last 2 weeks. Of course, Chinese markets are shut down because of corona fears, and it has been shut down since 23rd of January, I guess, and it's likely to open on this coming Monday, 3rd of February 2020. So the global markets, almost every global markets are reacting for the last 2 weeks. Nifty also reacted minus 3.1%. We are down for the last 2 weeks. And the Chinese markets, as I said, the Shanghai Composite is down by 3.2%, shut down on 23rd due to corona fears. The maximum impacted Asian market is from the Hang Seng. Hang Seng, the Hong Kong index, reacted 9.7% in the last 2 weeks alone, right? Which is followed by Nikkei and S&P 500. They are roughly around 3% down. And of course, the European markets also reacting to two factors. One is the Brexit, and the second one is the corona fears, because the corona has been spreaded massively across the European markets, US markets, and the almost most of the countries it has been spreaded. We can say like even in India we had reported one case in Kerala. Otherwise, it started in uh, China, but then it got spreaded across countries, right? So it spreaded to Asia, it spreaded to European countries, it even spreaded to the UAE countries as well. So there is a global pandemic is on, and corona fears is on. So we have to take an trading opinion. The budget is going to run in the midst of the corona fears, which is going to be an quite challenging situation, because extreme fears means too much of volatility can be seen. So we traders has to learn to trade in this kind of complex environment. So it's a complex, challenging situation, but still, though traders take irrational decisions very often, they often predictable in most of the times. So let's see how the budget 2020 is going to have. So this is the overall outlook, overall preparation for the day, and we'll be starting with the live session around 10:30 a.m. and it'll be running till 12:30 a.m. We'll be keep on recording things, right? We'll be keep on recording the market confidence, what kind of activity is happening, why it is happening, who does that, whether the activity is done by intraday traders or not. Lot many analysis we'll be doing live market hours, and even if there is any interesting trade setup, we'll be trying to look out where those interesting trade setups are getting formed, right? So thanks for watching, and hope you'll be joining the live training session, live trading room on market profile this budget 2020. Thank you.